Hi coaches, in this video we will be discussing the importance of small-sided games and what they entail. In small-sided games, they are directional, so they go to a goal, a target player, or an end zone. When you play small-sided games, you always have opposition, whether it be an even number opposition of 7v7 or it be opposition with numbers up utilizing a neutral player. Small-sided games are the best training activities to develop patterns of play that will then surface within your games. One of the most common small-sided games that can be used are games that involve scoring to an end zone. When you use an end zone, you have a few options of how you want players to score. You can ask players to dribble into the end zone. You can also ask players to pass to a teammate into the end zone, or you could use both of these options as a means to score. When using end zones, you should ask players to focus on making decisions that allow the ball to advance to a forward position. This can mean you're asking players to dribble forward, or again, you can ask players to make a forward pass. A simple progression to a game that involves end zones is adding a transitional moment. In this activity, I have used two teams that are playing a 4v4 game in the middle and then two teams of four that are resting in each end zone. When the yellow team scores, then the black team is the new attacking team and comes on. The green team would transition off, and the yellow team would now transition to the defending team in order to try to win the ball back and score again. To make a small-sided game involving end zones more game realistic, you could add goals at the end of each end zone. In this activity, we are now asking players to exploit space into the end zone, either through the dribble or the pass. Once the player or the team gets into the end zone, they are then allowed to shoot. You could also structure this activity by saying a goal scored within the zones of the game is 1 point and a goal scored within the end zone is worth 2. Another commonly used small-sided game involves players playing to a target player. In this activity, I have set it up so that the red triangles are always scoring to one attacking target and then the ball always re-enters from the number 4, the defending target player. Additionally, you could manipulate this game so that the ball is always going from one target player to the next rather than receiving or starting from one side only. In this second progression using targets, I have now set it up so that the team both has to go to a target player and then in order to complete the sequence, they must then get to the end zone. This activity demands that players exploit open space using both the pass and the dribble and gives a coach an opportunity to address multiple coaching points within the game. In this final activity using targets, I have now placed the targets in the wide areas of the field. In order for a team to score, they must go from one side of the field using a target player to the opposite side of the field, additionally using a target player, and then they are allowed to go to goal. This setup will allow players to unlock certain combinations and use certain passing patterns that will open up space in front of goal. This is a great way to get players more comfortable in front of goal using the pass. In this next set of small-sided game activities, I have now used multiple nets. In this activity, I would use something similar to a pug or a bow net in order to have players focus on passing into the goal versus shooting. When using multiple goals in your small-sided game, you are now asking players to exploit open space and using the width of the field to create numerical advantages. When using multiple goals, my personal preference is to use 2 goals or to play a game commonly known as 2-goal soccer. When using 2 goals, again you're asking players to switch the field and to change the point of attack in order to exploit an open goal. We could simply change these activities by introducing gates instead of goals. When using gates, it's largely used to ask players to dribble through the gate in order to score. Whether or not you use gates or goals largely depends on the topic of your session. Depending on the skill level of the team, you could additionally remove the middle gates, only allowing players to score in the wide areas of the field. In this activity specifically, you're asking players to change the point of attack in a timely manner so that when they get to one side of the field, they can be in a numbers up situation. In small-sided games, another moment that can be manipulated is how the coach chooses to restart the game. In this activity, it's a simple 6v6 to goal, and the coach, every time the ball goes out of bounds, will replay to the goalie, causing the attacking team to have to build up or the defending team to press higher up the field. These activities are highly effective because they allow moments to occur in the natural flow of the game versus setting up patterns or setting up activities that involve no opposition. If you only have one full-size goal to attack, or you only have one goalie, you can structure an activity where one team attacks a full-size goal while the opposing team attacks two counter goals. Again, in this setup, you can use endless restrictions to try to get certain sequences to surface. Based on your topic, some restrictions could be that all field players are not allowed to turn with the ball if you're trying to get your team to play the way they face, or another restriction could be that the team who scores must score with a one-touch finish. In this next small-sided game, it is one of my personal favorites and can be used to confront multiple different moments of the game. In this activity, it's a 3v3 plus 1 in each third of the field. In the middle third of the field, there is a free space that attacking players are allowed to check into and defending players are not allowed to be in. This allows players to check into the half space of the field in order to open up and begin the attack with the dribble. If you wanted to focus on building out of the back, the coach could restart by sending the ball to the goalie and asking the defending players to then build out and have an attacking player check into the half space in order to receive open. Additionally, you could focus on counterattacking moments by playing to the attacking team first, then asking the defenders to win the ball and spring the attack forward by playing to a player in the half space. You could also concentrate on creating overloads in the attacking third by asking whatever defending player played the forward pass into the half space to then join the attacking team. Games like these can be manipulated in a variety of ways depending on what the topic of your session is. When deciding what small-sided games to incorporate into your training environment, you must first consider how your team plays. One example could be the U18 Premier Girls. In our training environment, we always try to incorporate the theme of building from the back using our goalies and both center backs. You can see in the beginning of this sequence it goes center back to center back to goalie. Another observation you can observe is players picking up the ball in half spaces of the field. These are our two most common themes that we try to hit on in training, building from the back and picking the ball up in half spaces away from defenders. Another observation could be that when players break the first line of press, their determination to get the ball into a forward position. In summary, small-sided games are the best training activities to create game-realistic scenarios. When using small-sided games, you can manipulate the games through the means of which you score, either through an end zone, target, or gate. You can also use restrictions in order to get certain sequences to occur. When you use small-sided games in your training environment, your team will be more comfortable when they get to a game and they will experience more success within a game.